today I am super excited. I get the distinct honor and privilege to introduce to you someone that I have a tremendous amount of respect for. He is a mover and shaker, not just in the financial industry, but also in life as a whole. He is a professional speaker. And while I could read his complete bio to you, I thought tonight I will just introduce him. Listen, there's so many things you want to know about Richard Harden. He is a coach, he is a speaker, he is a mentor, and he is an engineer. He is so smart. I tell you, I like surrounding myself with people that are smarter than I am. And I am super excited that I have had the opportunity to connect with this young man. You want to hear what he has to share tonight. He is a graduate of Duke University. And not only that, he just loves helping people and he loves having fun. If you're in a room with him, he will definitely have you line dancing. Um, and listen, I like to dance, but I didn't know anything about line dancing, but he is so much fun to be around. Well,
That's cool.
this is the opportunity for me to turn it over to none other than the man of the other, Mr. Richard Harden. Y'all give it up a virtual welcome to
Whoop,
him.
whoop, whoop, whoop. Go,
Outstanding,
Richard. Go, Richard.
outstanding. Oh
Get
my
it, get it, get
goodness.
it.
Oh my goodness. Man, this is so much fun. You just got to imagine what it's like to have someone like Natasha Johnson in your life. Because in real life, this is one of those things where I think about where we are, what's happening in the world, all the things that she's doing. And she did not even tell you her name. But let me listen to this. Natasha Johnson is easily one of the most sought after speakers in the state of Georgia. She is a licensed luxury real estate agent. She has now completed the training to do international transactions. So if you need to buy some property in another country because you decide you no longer fit in on this one, she can help with that. But she's a
Thailand.
mother, a minister, and most important, one of the members of our movement of change. I know we talked about making sure that all the real estate agents, real estate professionals that you knew about this call, because we're looking not only for real estate agents, but those people that want to go beyond selling houses, beyond selling property, to facilitating the transfer of wealth. Because that's what we're talking about this evening. We are having a real wealth conversation with real people, real solutions, and real estate professionals, because that's what we need to do. We got to make some real changes. Does that make sense? So before I jump in, let me introduce the rest of the folks that'll be helping me with today's conversation, because the topic is so big that I would do you a disservice if I tried to do this all by myself. But I want to introduce you to some folks, some friends of mine that have helped me with perspective on what we've got our hands on and how we as a movement can educate people on how to maximize their income, how to maximize their possibilities. So first, let me introduce Stephanie Stewart of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the Educate to Own brand, where I'll let her tell her story a little bit later on, but where she's really focused on finding those places where we were traditionally undereducated in terms of what it took to become homeowners in America, filling that gap, and then helping people go to the next level. Now, you already heard Natasha Johnson. She'll be back sharing her perspective on how she's been able to give the edge to her partners and her customers when it comes to what it takes to be financially fit when it's time for a transaction. Also want to bring back the doctor, Dana Turnquest, sharing perspective about the investment side of real estate. Because on the one hand, there's a buyer, but on the other hand, there's the buyer who buys in order to have the purchase make money. And then last but not least, a brand new face for many of you, but I think when you hear her voice, but more importantly, when you hear her story, you'll be impressed with my new friend, Alicia Jones. Alicia Jones is working to educate, empower, and inspire people as they purchase real estate right here in Atlanta, Georgia. We just met here recently, but I am so impressed. We're going to split up this conversation amongst the five of us. So the five of us will be back for individual pieces, but let me set the stage for our conversation. Is that okay? Because here's why these conversations are important. Here's why you got people jumping on the line after their work day, during a busy election day, understanding everything that's happening in America today. we're going to talk about a concept that's producing real wealth for people in America. But anytime somebody makes that claim at this time of day, I only feel it's right that you know a little bit about that person. So by way of background, all the things Natasha said about me are true, but I'm one of those people that is here and have made the decisions I've made because of things that didn't happen based on what I was told. Now, I am from Atlanta, Georgia, on the South Side. Grew up went through all the schools, and what they told us growing up in Atlanta is you're supposed to go to school, get good grades so that you can go to college, get a degree, get a good job with benefits, and live happily ever after. How many of you were told those things?
Me.
So we all were taught the same thing, and I'm not going to give you my results. I'm just going to say, how many of you got to the end of that process and found that what you wanted wasn't what you were taught? Meaning, here's my reality. I did everything they said to the best of my ability. I went to school, I got good grades. Man, Dana, from my 8th grade to senior year, I didn't get any grade below a 93. What y'all call that, kid? Oh, come on, let me hear. Nerd, bookworm. Can I copy your paper?
That was my boy. That was my guy.
The last day they called me the valedictorian. They've called me that ever since. So I graduated from Frederick Douglass High School Center for Engineering and Applied Technology, also known as DUG, with no doubts that the Atlanta public school system had taught me everything they intended to teach me. I got the academic scholarship to Duke University, double majored in electrical engineering, computer science, got out into the world and the workplace, got the house and the 2.5 kids that rounded up to 3, and realized that something happened during my education process. Because here's my honest reality. I went to Duke University saying, man, when I get out of here, I'm gonna make $1 million a year. Struggled through some of those early classes, found out $100,000 wouldn't be that bad. By the time I got to my junior year, I started looking at the people I knew, seeing what they were getting. They gave him 40, maybe they'll give me 40. And by the end of my senior year, I was like, man, listen, Lord, with just somebody, please just give me a job. How many of you can see that in that formal education, I went from wanting to make $1 million a year to just wanting a job? Yeah. And then getting out to work, getting to work on that job and working hard. Now, I'm blessed to say I was able to quickly increase in income because I graduated in technology in the right place at the right time. But I never gave up that quest of wanting to be wealthy. And there's nothing more frustrating than making more money and feeling like you have less. How many of you can relate to once you have children, check just doesn't seem to go as far?
I knew it.
Like each and every breath they took, the bank account would go down. So I found myself frustrated, looking, wandering, wanting, and then I got a call. Somebody called and invited me to just hear a concept. And the blessing in it was this somebody that I trust implicitly because I've known him all my life. He's my younger brother. But that call put me on the path to wealth by teaching me a concept called income shifting. So as we go through our conversation today, our focus is going to be on income shifting and specifically with leverage. Because that's one of the most powerful things. When I think about why I'm excited to be a real estate investor, it's not that I have a love for toilets or tenants. It's leveraged income. It means I took some money, I put some things aside, I saved some money, and that money has started to make money, and that money can do different things. So in the context of our conversation, that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about money. We're going to specifically talk about your money, and our focus when it comes to real estate, the reason I focus on real estate is just the reality in America is that 2/3, they say that there's a wealth gap in America for people that look like me. And it's because 2/3 of America's wealth is in real estate. And too many of us owe too much and own too little. So during our conversation today, the team is going to work with me to talk with people, real people, about the things that happen in real life. Now, we already talked about mindset, but I want to make sure that people make an honest choice for themselves about who they are relative to this conversation and who they want to be. Because on the left-hand side, you got average realtors. On the right-hand side, you got wealthy realtors. Average realtors are transactional. They just want to do this deal and get the next check. Wealthy realtors, they're relational. They will sell houses into the same family for generations. Average realtors, they just sell a house. Wealthy realtors, they're trusted home advisors. They don't just get you in the house. They get you the team of people to help you work around the house. Average realtors is a scarcity mentality. It's only so many buyers. There's not enough buyers. Wealthy realtors know there's more than enough for all of us to do well.
Yes.
Average realtors want to do it all on their own. Wealthy realtors leverage a team. Average realtors know everything already. They got a license, don't they? But wealthy realtors are always learning, always growing. Average, they're income focused. Wealthy, cash flow conscious. Average realtors just want to be wealthy. But wealthy realtors, they have a plan and their actions follow the process of them building wealth. So simple question, based on the things that you see here today, how many of you want to be average? How many of you want to be wealthy? Matter of fact, matter of fact, type it in the chat. Matter of fact, if you don't want to be wealthy, don't put your hand up. Just look away because I don't want to know what that is. But here's what I want to do. I want to bring some friends of mine up to talk about just the concepts of contingency. Because here's what I understand in the real estate arena. In the arena of real estate, once a prospect identifies a property, the agent's biggest job is removing contingencies, getting all the things out of the way for successful conclusion of the transaction. But one of the things that I talked about with my friend Stephanie was just the idea of the average buyer that comes to her having contingencies in their life, meaning things that are happening, most of which people are unaware of, that have them in a position where the majority of people that want to buy a home aren't qualified because other people are taking their money out of their pockets. And she, based on our solutions, we're going to talk about how to shift that money back. So to talk about the 4 challenges that everybody has in America, help me welcome. This is Miss Educate to Own. Miss Make sure that they learn how to make the money make money, help you qualify for the house, buy the house, pay the house off in record time. Y'all help me welcome Stephanie Stewart. Stephanie, you ready? You want me to drive on slides?
Yeah, thank you.
All right, here we go.
You're doing an amazing job. Thank you for that. Hardy, welcome. You're definitely an inspiration. Have taught me many, many things in this journey that we have already shared together. But as you were saying, educate to own, I'm definitely trying to get people educated in especially the 4 different challenges that they are facing in life. A lot of my clients come to me and they say, hey, I may not be able to afford it. I got high debt. I got whatever else. And so I try and put everything in a chart so that we can kind of identify what these problems are and how we can get to some solutions. So the first thing we have is inflation. Inflation is going to be something that we have no control over. It goes up every year whenever they feel like it, and we can't really do anything about it. At one point in time, gas was only $1.20. We were driving all around. Now all of a sudden it's, let me get that $3.50. Okay, let me add up some pennies and add a whole $5, and you're not going too much nowhere. Even if you do put the whole 20, you ain't getting more than half of a tank versus the full tank you were getting before. So inflation is definitely something that's coming in, being a silent income killer because we have no idea where it's coming. After that, you have taxes. Taxes is a straight chainsaw massacre. Now I had to do a little bit of research and I had to pull out some of my taxes. I'm not going to share the information, but these are W-2s. These are my paycheck stubs. This number did not equal this number, no matter how many times I added the numbers together. So that is a good, at least a third of my income that is going away that I have no idea who they are. Just take a minute. When you read these, I'm paying people I don't know. Like Meta, SSI, FIT. I don't know who FIT is. Who is FIT? And you got your state taxes, you got your income taxes, your medical taxes. And there's so many taxes to the point that you feel like you don't have anything left. If inflation and taxes didn't take everything from you, you then have the debt that you go into as you're trying to pay off whatever the taxes took. When you have debt, you got your credit cards, you got your house and everything like that. These are things that you have to survive. And we don't live in a world where we have enough money. Well, some people do not live in a world where they have enough money to pay these things. So they have credit card debts. They have all these curses that kind of come with not having enough money to afford the things that they want. For instance, some people may come to get a house and they want a house that is $300,000. But due to their high debt to income ratio, they can only afford a house that's at $100,000. When you have high expectations and you can't meet those because somebody put a contingency on you, That's where we need to kind of shift that change.
Yep.
That is a third of it. In addition to that, you then have the big businesses. We live in a very capitalist society where we always have holidays every month. January, February, March, April, May. No matter what month you think of, there's always a holiday or some event that comes up that's taking more money. Right now we got Thanksgiving about to come up, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and we got to come around to Christmas. On Christmas, people in my family at least, they save up months in advance just to pay for Christmas, then try and wait for a tax return that end up not coming right on time because we got things like people in the government that wants to delay and play with different people's money to the point that they can't get to the next point of life. So one thing that I definitely do with this business as well as Educate to Own, make people see that there are certain contingencies in life and that we need to work to get them away from our lives before somebody else puts a limit on what you're trying to do. The worst feeling in the world is to go to a bank and say, hey, I want to buy this house, but then I can't buy the house because I have these contingencies, these things that are stopping me from getting to my dream. So when I met Richard Harden, he definitely showed me some skills and some tips, solutions to really knock out a lot of these different problems so that we can address the things and get to where we want to in life. Mr. Harden.
Back to me.
Right, go
Awesome.
ahead.
So now here's the exciting thing, because this is the reality for most people. If you think about those things, if you take a third of a check plus a third of a check plus a third of a check, what's that?
All of it.
That's the whole check. That's the whole check. And we don't have to be deep with math to know that in our culture, one of the things that we have to do is equip people to have strategies to do something different than what we were traditionally taught. Because believe you me, none of us got on here to talk to you about doom and gloom on Tuesday. As a matter of fact, Tuesday is a happy day because we have tacos on Tuesday. But here's what we do. Understand that for all the challenges, there is a solution, especially when it comes to people that are real asset minded. They're in the process. We talked about income shifting earlier. Just break down the 3 strategies that it has. So there's increasing your cash flow, building a business income, and creating an investment income. Now we go through this map because we understand in America, it's not how much money you make, but how you make your money that dictates what your tax situation is. Because you think about this in our 3 strategies, and we'll break these down very quickly this evening and come around to some real life examples from the folks that are here in our panel. But the first thing that we do when we focus on increasing cash flow is just understanding tax reality. What Stephanie said is true. 28 to 33% is what average Americans lose out of their paycheck before they ever get home. Now, in addition to minimizing taxes, we're going to help minimize expenses, minimize debt, and increase credit scores. We do this for everybody because in America, cash flow is king. We got to get to the place where our cash flows longer than check to check. Does that make sense? But then the second strategy is building a business income, and it is a strategic advantage. Think about this. As real estate agents and investors, you already have the built-in advantage of getting your money 1099. What does that mean? Uncle Sam doesn't take his tax cut off the top. Business owners are taxed less and later than the average person. So they get taxed 18 to 25%, get to be tax efficient, get to write off lifestyle, and produce an additional income that's in your control. And you know what's kind of unique about today, Stephanie? Is that the tax returns of both of the candidates are matters of public record. And they both paid less in taxes than me all of the last 5 years.
Oh my.
Now we could get mad at that. We could get mad about the fact that there's a game being played, but now that we're aware, we're just in a position to play the game better because once we combine the cash flow that we get people back from their jobs, back from the big 3, back from taxes, back from the banks, with the additional business income in investment income, we understand why the rich keep getting richer. Because write this down in your notes. In America, making money is the least tax form of taxes there is. It's called capital gains tax. And it's taxed at less than 15%, and it's not an annual tax. Money gets to make money, get reinvested, gets to make more money. It gets taxed only at surrender. And when do the wealthy sacrifice the investment? Put this down in your notes. Never. It's making money forever, forever, ever. So we're talking about real assets. And one of the things in this conversation that we'll focus on is making sure that we make an investment in ourselves. Now, as we talk about the edge, this is one of those places where you hear a new voice and they say something that you said in such a singular way that you say, ooh, you should tell other people what you just told me. Now I'm going to put her on the spot and put her on spotlight. This is Miss Alicia Jones. Now, Alicia, again, been at, native of Detroit, Michigan, but living in Atlanta here the last long enough that we'll call her half a peach. Been in the real estate industry for 5 years, brokered through Palmer House, but in her brand, what she focuses on is giving her clients an edge, knowing that most people want to buy a home, but they are similar to that person that tries to do something all by themselves without having a team of experts to help them learn what they need to know. So Alicia, just share your perspective on what you told me earlier today about the importance of giving people a financial edge.
Right.
Let's skip this for now.
Of giving people a financial edge when it comes to real estate. First of all, you have to have the credit, number one. So another thing besides the credit, you have to ensure that you have the proper debt to income ratio. That means that your income exceeds your debt. And the next thing is, if you have cash flow, what are you doing with it? Is it just sitting in a bank? Because in a real estate transaction, you have to have money to pay for closing costs. You have to have money for a down payment. So most of us have our money in a bank account. That bank account gives us little to no interest. So one of the features that I really like about this program is the Wealth Max. The Wealth Max is something that gives clients access to trusted financial advisors, and they will strategize for you, take all the guesswork out of this for you. You don't have to figure it out on your own. So this is the secret to how wealthy people keep their wealth, keep building wealth, and keep making money.
Outstanding. And here's some perspective, because Alicia, as you and I were sharing, as we were talking earlier today, one of the things that you wanted to differentiate on was making sure that people were equipped for their purchase process. So with our Financial Edge membership, so by the way, let me back up and say, we've all partnered in some degree with Make Wealth Real Financial, and we provide a team of financial experts. What do our experts help people with? Credit, equity, money, and wealth. Meaning, I want to make sure people know up front that the access to this team of experts is, let's just round it up and call it $80 a month. And it includes a spouse. And I like to get the elephant out of the Zoom up front so people don't get scared. You can afford it. As a matter of fact, based on the examples and the testimonies of people that you'll hear today, it costs the average person thousands of dollars a month not to have people helping them financially. Does that make sense? So first part that I found, because I work with a lot of real estate professionals, and they consistently have people who could use an enhancement in terms of their credit score. And with our Credit Max credit restoration service, we've helped people increase their credit score average 50 to 150 points. The system itself, 25 years experience, we're RESPA and Credit Reporting Act of America compliant, hundreds of thousands of satisfied customers, and a spotless Better Business Bureau rating. But you know what's more impressive than what we say about Credit Max? The stories of the people here that have had access to the team of experts. Now, I know we're short on time, but I'll just take a couple of folks. If any of you have worked with Credit Max and they've helped you enhance your credit, let me know what your name is first, but then how many points Credit Max increased your score. Make sense?
Morgan Cleveland, they've increased my credit score so far 69 points, and that's in less than 3 months.
69 points in less than 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Gwendolyn Dodson, 110 points, less than 3 months, but in the business for 11 months.
Awesome, awesome.
Hey, Richard, it's Leela in Indianapolis. I've gotten 36 points increased in the last 30 days, and I'm expecting another update within the next couple of days.
Awesome. And see, now here's the important thing. We got to just understand that credit score does two things. Number one, it dictates the amount we pay for money. but it also lets, even though in terms of our refinances, being in a position, I know when they got my credit score over 800 and they did that for me, I was able to refinance my mortgage, went from 5% down to 2.62%, saving myself $750 a month, but hundreds of thousands of dollars over the life of the loan. So it's not just for people that are trying to buy a home. Credit matters so much today. We might as well get a team of professionals to help. Does that make sense? And now with our Credit Max service, here's what people get. What's included: free credit reports, personalized disputes on all the bureaus. And one thing that I find a lot of real estate investors guiding, especially their first home buyers, to do is to get that rent history. That rental history is probably the best indicator that they can actually pay a mortgage, but the average renter has been paying rent for years and is not a part of what's on their credit. Boost another 30 points, and then you get the unlimited consult and consultations just to know what's happening, what I can do about it. And then with our smart credit monitoring system, you're really in control and command of what's happening and protection from things that are not yours. Make sense? But then we take the next step to Equity Max, because this is what you said, Alicia. You said credit is first, but then the next thing you said was what?
Low debt to income ratio.
Debt to income ratio. A good credit score will get you in the door, but that debt to income ratio is the thing that the underwriter is giving extra scrutiny in 2020. And what we do is actually put together a customized plan to help people understand the creditor's plan, proposing a counter to the creditor's plan with the same money. But the way that it's structured is that for 100% of people I've run into so far, dramatically reduces the time they spend in debt and the amount they pay in interest. In this case, going from 29 years down to 7 years and 11 months, saving themselves close to $150,000 in interest. And again, there's many testimonies on the line. I will stop for them right now, but I know we got to get through some things really quickly. But just to put your hands up, matter of fact, type in the chat for those that are looking on in Zoom. If you've got Equity Max, how much they saved you either in time or in interest payments, just so people know what we're doing. Because the goal is to get the money back. See, we already, by lowering the interest rates, we're getting money back. People are already losing the money. By lowering their time in debt, we're getting the money back. They were already going to pay this money. And then the last thing we do is put money back in people's hands from the IRS. Now, I don't even have to ask, but I want to stop and look at everybody in the eyeballs. How many of you believe that your house is a better place for making decisions about your money than the White House?
Mm-hmm.
So we got to stop overpaying taxes. I know the Bible says pay Caesar what he is due, but there is no need to overpay. And a tax refund is probably the worst financial decision that most Americans, 80% of Americans, overpay taxes all year, not being tax efficient. But we get the additional advantages of of home ownership and business ownership. And we provide budgeting and cash flow strategies so that the average person, if you think about your ideal consumer, someone out there working hard, has a good job, adds this as an investment stream to their lives, we're actually getting them a raise in pay from their jobs. And then for the agents that we're working with, as business owners we get to maximize our tax deductions by having an assistant that works with us on the busy work of administering a business. Because how many of you are busy? How many of you gone through that process of, logging your miles, collecting your receipts, doing all the things, doing the do to make sure that you had everything, but then you end up with a bag of paper. Y'all can't see this. I pulled up one of my old tax files. Man, it's pieces of paper in here where you can no longer tell where I went or why I was there. Trying to reconcile this and take it to an accountant. TaxBot, you just take a picture of the receipt right there while you're doing it. It tracks the miles as you go, but don't let me just talk about it. How many of you have had an experience with Money Max where they either saved you money or are helping you track your accounting and be efficient in your business? All right, who wants to share?
I can share.
Oh, I see Bruce. He's holding up his TaxBot. Is that $29,000 in deductions, Bruce?
32,000.
32,000.
Still working on claiming the stuff before August.
Right.
Outstanding. Now understand this. Once you connected it to your accounts and to your vehicle, does it mean that you're an accountant all day? Is that all you're doing with your day?
Oh, no, it just makes it easy to track stuff. I take a picture of that receipt at the cash register, click a couple buttons when I drive to the store to get some stuff, click a couple more buttons when I get back to the shop to do business. I'm done. It's an easier way to track stuff, keep it organized, and I can pull it up and look at it. I can coordinate my credit card, 3 or 4 bank accounts, a second bank. So, I've got Amazon, PayPal on there, I'm tracking parking. I mean, it's ding, done.
Bam. And that's the thing. It's simple. It's an assistant. It's actually helping the process of tracking business and multiple businesses if you're one of those multiple streams of income entrepreneurs. Anybody else?
I know for mine, I really enjoy it, especially with a real estate agent. There's no way mentally you can just track how many miles you went from one place to the next place. The one place I really like it is for that one. Wait, do you see it? Do you see it? So that is almost $3 grand, which is not something that I would have kept track of before. So dues and everything else that we have to pay for, everything you literally put in with a click of a button. You know how easy a click is? Just as simple.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I'm also my expenses and everything. And like I said, I've been with the company about 3 months, and so far I have $3,500 in deductions. And it is super easy, like everybody's saying. Like I just drove down from Ohio, asked somebody, have you ever heard of income shifting when I got here? And bam, I wrote off 500 miles worth of travel.
Outstanding. Oh, and by the way, don't forget, I know most of us are W-2 business owners, so we're tracking our deductions. But one of the features of Money Max is you get a team of professionals that for the average W-2 wage earner can get them a pay raise from their job. So if you think about the 3 things that someone needs when they want to buy a house, they need a credit score, they need to lower their debt, and they need to increase their income. All of those things our financial edge does by getting their credit score up, their debts down, their taxes down, and getting the money back into their hands so that we've removed the contingency for them to make the purchase. Am I making sense?
Absolutely.
So that's the beginning. So the first thing that we focus on is just making sure that people get their money back, get into a position where they got a team of financial experts to help with all kinds of things when it comes to taxes. But then that last category we focus on, and it's not last because it's last in line, it's just the thing that most people have put off for so long because they haven't had access. But with our Wealth Max pillar, we do a consultation where you get mentoring from some of the best money experts in the world, but think about ways to strategically use leverage and real estate to build wealth, focused on the advantages of owning versus renting, and especially building equity, not just in one house, but making room for more than one house. Because think about this. If your clients got a house, paid it off, and still knew you helped them do both of those things, would they buy the next house with you?
Most likely.
And so with Wealth Max, I do want to bring one of my favorite people to hear from a perspective of life. Because Dana Turnquist, man, let me tell y'all something. Dana Turnquist, not only is he an area director with what we do, one of the top 5% money earners in the company, but he's also a serious businessman and a real estate investor. And when I hear him share his perspective on Wealth Max, specifically one of the investments that we're most excited about is the opportunity to, in addition to the investments and cash flow that we get from our real estate and our business, to have our money make more money by being our own bank. So Mr. Turnquist, would you mind sharing with us how private reserve accounts work, what was exciting to you about it, and what you're doing so far?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I first want to take just a second to thank you for the opportunity to be on this call, man. Being able to be on the team with you and run with you has been an amazing ride, brother. And you are one of the people who got me excited about Wealth Max because I saw what you were doing with it and how many people you were helping get this stuff done. So I appreciate you, brother.
Pleasure. Thank
so,
you.
Folks, real quick, just I heard one of my partners on the line talk about the difference between keeping your money in a bank and keeping it in a different type of vehicle. Just know this, the banks are businesses. We look at them as service entities, but really they're in business to make money. When you put your money in a bank, they are looking to lend it out 5 to 10 times. And that's why we get so little interest paid on our money. Every time you direct deposit your money, and if you're anything like me, and I work in education also, I've been direct depositing my money into the same bank account for decades. And when I have to go and qualify for my own money, it's a little bit unnerving at times, especially when either at times I made too little or sometimes I made too much for certain type of student loans for my daughter. It's frustrating. So when I saw the private reserve account and I started hearing about becoming my own bank, I was all ears. And here's how the program works. Many of our services, you just upload some information, stuff you already have access to. But this one requires a consultation, and you can have as many consultations as it takes for you to either understand what you have or to get it set up. Think about an account where it's attached to the rise in the market, but not the drops. If you're anything like me and most people in this country, you have a 401k that became a 301k and probably the 201k at this point because the stock market took a heavy hit during COVID. So if your money is both protected from the market, where it only goes up and never goes down, it's also protected from Uncle Sam, because once you put money in this account, if you ever need to take money from the account, you don't actually take the money out, you just take out a loan against your own money, which means you're now paying yourself back with terms that you set up. So
Right.
imagine you're the bank of your household. Your daughter has to buy a car. Your son needs, something for college, and you borrow from your own retirement account. Leave the original 50,000, 100,000, whatever's in there, because that money is going to continue to earn interest. You take out a loan against that money, and you and whoever, your son, your daughter, whoever's paying yourself back, you become the bank for your family instead of them going to Bank of America, Wells Fargo, or whoever is that lender. Here's the real estate part of it. I now can become a hard money lender as well. If I have a real estate project that I want to invest in, I can borrow against the same account, make money on the real estate while that initial money is in that account earning interest. And here's the last piece. Wealthy people have been parking their money in retirement accounts forever as a tax protection. So there's two places you can put your money: real estate and retirement accounts, to protect it from those heavy taxes once you become a high income earner. And if I'm not a tax professional, go talk to your best tax person that you have, and they'll tell you the exact same thing. And that's why this account is worth its weight in gold. So schedule the consultation. They will answer every question you have till nauseam and help you set these accounts up. So when I saw this, I was all over.
Man, listen, I mean, and I'm still excited. I mean, it's one of those things. I think people are really starting to get the concept of what we can do once we educate ourselves and put ourselves in a position where we can be our own banks, be in control of our money, be in control of our terms. Y'all give it up one more time for Dana Turnquest.
Yay.
Oops.
Thank you.
Oops. Now, let's see. And then the last category, because I do run into people, I mean, and I think Alicia, Stephanie, you both mentioned these kinds of things where you do run into people that do have challenges outside what the normal man would know. But if you're in any of those positions, you need tax debt relief, debt settlement protection. Before you file bankruptcy, make sure you stop through the Financial Edge and see if they can get some of those people off your back. It's included anyway. I don't necessarily know until people say, but you never know how many people have quiet desperation. But let's summarize, because I forgot, we make money. Let me say that. We're not a charity. We're impassioned about the movement, but the best thing about what we do is that by doing the things we do to get people their money back, because how many of you agree, if you knew that you could get somebody a raise from their job, that you could get them out of debt in record time and save them hundreds of thousands of dollars on interest, if you could get their credit score to the best shape it's been and help them be their own bank, you tell them about that, yes?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, our company pays that way. And one of the reasons that I like working with real estate professionals like Natasha, like Stephanie, like Alicia, is their understanding of leveraged pay. Because every real estate agent in America knows a real estate broker. And what I figured out about real estate brokers was that every time they sell a house, they make some money. Every time one of the agents in their brokerage sells a house, they make some money. and that there's an ongoing flow of money, and that they increase their comfort by having more than one source of income. Well, with our business model, we offer you the opportunity to be either an individual agent where all you do is work with your individual clients and get paid based on the things that you do personally, or take advantage of our brokerage model. The best thing is only $228 investment maximum to be the top position in what we do, and $119 a month. Now, what do we get for that? We get paid 10 different ways that I'm not even going to go into. I'm just saying, here's what I understand about being in any sales business, meaning as a realtor, enterprise software, when I sell something, I get a check. When I don't, no check. So just being in a position where there's a daily guarantee of pay in any amount. And let me just highlight our compensation concept. So in terms of the idea of paying daily, there's 10 different ways that our compensation plan pays us, but they're really based on only one activity. It's referral volume, meaning the more people that you help using our system, we get paid every time someone becomes a customer, decides to start a business. At a certain point, just based on your production, they start making a car payment or mortgage payment for you, anywhere from $500 to $1,250 a month. And then the concept I think is most exciting, daily guaranteed pay, anywhere from $5 a day to $1,000 per day, just by helping people get their money back. And rather than me going through a million slides of people getting paid daily pay, just one or two people at different levels of daily pay, tell us about what the feeling is for the daily pay that you have.
I'll tell you my feeling. Right now, I'm at the $5 a day, which is awesome because for one, it covers the cost of running my business every month, and it makes me automatically profitable, every single month. But knowing that, like yesterday, I was driving, and I know I didn't do anything, yesterday regarding the business because I was on the road, but that text message still came in at 5:02, and it's like, hey. It's like a little blessing just dropped on you every day, just a little blessing dropped on you. So it's good to know that you have that, that you have that coming, and that it will, definitely increase.
Outstanding. And here's the exciting thing. Dana's holding up his phone. Let's put that on spotlight. Let's see what that looks like over there. Hang on.
My camera's not great. I'm trying to get the.
Now that's a $30 a day. Is that right, Dana?
Yes, indeed. And just like Morgan said, it comes in whether I'm doing something or not. The as you call it, referral bonus. We're in the business of building referral income. Once you set it up, it just continues to come. Every day at 5:03, I get a text message saying I got paid $30 a day. That's $900 a month. And as a real estate investor who's also a landlord, here in Connecticut, that's anywhere from 2 to 4 rental properties. The monthly income from that, right? So if you're going to get say $200 in profit for each rental, that's after you pay all of the bills and utilities and whatever you have to pay. If you can get $200 per door, that's pretty good. Well, that's 4 rental units, and this has already surpassed that, and that's just in the last few months. And I would have in Connecticut, the property cost is pretty high, and that's you're talking $500,000 in real estate you would have to own to generate just $800, $900 a month.
Right. I mean, and that's an important perspective because it's still the same kind of money. It's leveraged, passive. It's just a different kind of anchor in terms of what you had to put as principal in there. Because I think I looked at it the same way, Dana. I think the first property that I invested in, it was a similar scenario, meaning I saved $10,000 to get in the deal. And that just put me into a place where I had a mortgage. It cash flowed $250 for years. And even after the house is now paid off, thanks to Equity Max, by the way. Equity Max encouraged me to do that. The house makes $1,000 a month. Now it took me 20 years, an initial investment of $10,000, and ongoing toilets and tenants for years to get to where that house makes $1,000 a month. But this business right now is adding an extra $100 a day. That's $3,000 a month with no toilets or tenants. Come on. See, landlords feel me on that. The investors will tell you and it started with a $228 investment and some text equity. Just getting people to see, getting people their money back and helping them grow and build. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense.
So let's summarize. Let's put a bow on everything that we said and let people get on to their evenings, because there's a lot going on. I know people have a lot of anxiety, but I want you to understand we have given people the ultimate win-win when it comes to MWR and the real estate industry. Because from a client point of view, think about any client that came to you wanting to buy a house. But in addition to buying a house, you restored their credit, increased the equity in their home, lowered their debt to income ratio, increased their buying power, reduced their taxes, helped them settle their debts, helped them own a home, get a loan, and pay it off in record time. But then as an agent, that makes you differentiated. Now you're different than the person that just puts a sign out and says, we got an open house on Sunday, because you're creating clients instead of competing. You're turning renters into buyers, getting paid even on people that turned down the offer you originally set. You have a pipeline of people that you can recapture from turn downs. You get the increase of pipeline, retain the customers, and the most important thing, you separate yourself, because once you educate someone on how to own, like Stephanie Stewart, or once you educate, empower, and inspire, like Alicia Jones, you just get to close more loans. You sell more homes, and the only way you or your clients can lose is if you don't participate. So with that being said, that's my time for today in today's Real Wealth Strategies for Real Estate Professionals. I want to make sure to encourage everyone. I think the polls are closing here in Atlanta, Georgia in only 10 minutes. So this is what I want to encourage you to understand. Regardless of what's in the White House, the most important thing is the income that we shift back into our house. It doesn't matter nearly as much what's happening on Wall Street as the cash flowing down Y'all Street. Man, this is Richard and Bertie's biggest baby boy. It's been my plum pleasing pleasure, as well as my privilege. I want to thank once again, let me bring them back to the spotlight. Again, that's Miss Alicia Jones.
Thank you.
Stephanie Stewart. Hang on, let me find you. There we go.
Thank you.
Dana Turnquest.
Thank you, sir.
And Natasha Johnson. Did I find you? There we go. Want to thank y'all for sharing your insights, your wisdom, but most importantly, your passion for helping people make wealth real. We're talking real strategies, real business professionals, doing what we do with real estate as one of the vehicles that will be a part of the wealth transfer. And with that being said, that's my time. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. Thank you, Richard. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome presentation. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Richard.
My pleasure.
Thank you.